Episode of the Marketing Podcast is brought to you by Neighborhood Domains. Every business needs a domain name, including yours. Visit neighborhooddomains.com and use offer code MARKETING to get 10% off hosting and domain registration.
On this episode, back to school shopping, Shopify abandons neutrality, Amazon is ready for Christmas, Gen Z shopping habits, and retail trends.
Creativity sells. Applying the right creative at the right time is the recipe for great marketing. The Marketing Podcast looks at marketing news and finds the secret ingredients that make great marketing.
Hi, welcome to the Marketing Podcast. I'm Heather Watson.
And I'm Brendan Quigley.
What's up, Brendan?
Not too much. Busy. But I heard somewhere that you're never supposed to say busy. You're supposed to say productive or like describe what you're doing because everyone says busy.
I just bumped into somebody who said, I just broke up with my boyfriend and I'm having a crappy day.
There you go.
That's a nice answer. Because then
that is a good
it's
answer.
like,
It's honest.
I'm having a crappy day. I
Yep.
need some love. Show me some support.
Yep.
Instead of, good, fine.
I know, eh?
That's what I always say.
I always say excellent or amazing or like go back a couple episodes, see what I said.
Yeah. Gummy bears.
Gummy bears.
Back to school. Oh, it's the most wonderful time.
That's Christmas.
Oh. It doesn't affect my life because I don't have children of school age any longer. But
And I'm
everybody's
not in
back to school now.
I don't have kids of school age.
Yeah. Well, we're talking about retail. And it's funny that I'm singing a Christmas song because we're actually going to be talking about Christmas retail too today. And I'm really excited about that. Not about Christmas.
Just putting it out there, though. Who doesn't like buying pencils and pens and paper?
I love stationery stores.
Isn't that like
Yeah.
I feel like there is a niche market for like in guilty pleasure stationery or something.
Yeah, there's actually a friend of mine introduced me to a company and I can't remember the name of it, but it's based out of Australia and they ship to Canada and they have gorgeous stationery and you can only get their stuff there. Like they don't have like retail stores everywhere around the
Actually,
world.
it's kind of like your book. You have like the little
My
notebook.
Moleskine, yeah.
Is it a moleskin?
Moleskine.
It's like a...
No, it's a moleskin.
Oh, it is a moleskin?
It's just everybody pronounces moleskin differently.
Oh.
So some people say it's moleskine.
It looks like moleskin to me.
That's, yeah, because we're Anglo and butcher anything.
Okay.
It's like, yeah, there's a whole, it's kind of a Spanish
if
name or something like that.
if someone knows of like a place just to buy cheap books that are the same size that aren't as expensive as moleskins,
Yeah.
hit me up.
I love a moleskin. So back to school shopping, we have a fun story that I can't find right now. Where to go?
Has e-commerce changed back to school shopping is the title.
There we go. And this is coming off of a retail dive online. We'll share that on our show notes at themarketingpodcast.ca.
That's interesting. Second largest shopping season of the year.
Isn't that crazy?
So like I guess they just must be including Black Friday, Cyber Monday with the Christmas season.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So back to school is the second largest. And it even goes in and talks a little bit about even like the Amazon July, Black Friday, Prime Day that they do in terms of other events. So online versus in-store shopping depends on what grade of school you're shopping for. So more than half of K-12 households are planning to do more of their back-to-school shopping online. But then back to college, it's a bit different. The top shopping destination is online for college. Walmart has done this really cool thing too. For dorm shopping, they introduced a, quote, buy the room concept. And it's basically curated 9 rooms with different style accessories and 20 popular items. And shoppers can just add groups of items to the cart for one dorm room look. So it's like one click and you get, the clock, the desk, the lamp, the chair, the bed, the bedding.
Did they pick it up at the end of 4 years?
Yeah.
Or does it just get thrown out?
But man, that is like so cool to me. And it's a bit of an immersive experience. It helps customers see what an item looks like in a room. So they're using the online tools to engage whether or not they're buying online or in store. So, and then they're also helping create school-specific shopping lists in their mobile app.
Oh, interesting. That's
so
smart.
it's like if I know I need pencils, chances are I'm going to need some binders and paper and a calculator and a ruler too.
Like I'm thinking Amazon, like you're the teacher used to put out a list of things you need to get.
And that's what Walmart's doing too. Teacher lists.
And you can just, here's the list. And
Individual teacher lists to make it easier for families.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then they can use the list to find the aisle right away.
I'm not hearing anything that a small business couldn't do.
No.
You know what I mean? Like even though they're saying has e-commerce changed it, like I think the worry would be the e-commerce would pull away from the traditional back to school, the second largest shopping season. But I mean, there's no reason you can't reach out to the schools in your area.
Yeah.
And do the similar thing.
Yeah, and I know actually just recently I was buying a motorized pencil sharpener, and I was asked by the cashier, and it's a big franchise, like a box store where I was purchasing it, and she said, "Oh, are you a teacher?" And I thought she was just like anecdotally asking me the question. I'm like, nope. And she's like, "Oh, really? Because not too many people buy plug-in pencil sharpeners." I'm like, I really like pencils. But then she said, "Well, no, we offer discounts to teachers." And I was like, "Don't!" I should have said that I was, but I'm too honest. But the point is, like, even a small retail store can offer those teachers credits and bonuses.
Totally, and reach out, because they might not know it's an option. That's what I'm getting out of this.
And people, teachers or otherwise, have a propensity to support their local business as opposed to going to the big box stores.
Yeah.
I know that generally on stationery, unless it's fancy schmancy stationery that I'm getting shipped to me from Australia, usually has a really low margin. Like if we're talking about a number 2 HB pencil and a ream of 500 sheets of paper, probably not making a lot of money off that to be able to give a discount. But if you can put them in bundles together with some higher margin items and create those packages, you're making it easy, because it's like, here's your back to school kit.
Gosh, like I remember elementary school, the teacher would give you a list and there'd be like all these things you have to get. You used like half of those things.
Yeah, same thing in college and university too. They give you like these big book lists, and whoever opens a book?
Whoever buys all the books they're supposed to buy.
Not a chance.
They're in the library. You can get them out.
Yeah. So that's kind of some of the neat stuff that Walmart's doing. There's also retailers using various methods to bring shoppers online for the seasonal purchases, including free shipping, discounts on online order, and playing up convenience by offering online schoolless fulfillment options.
Oh, smart. Like fulfilled to the school.
Yeah. So, one of the things, one of the quotes that have come out of here, it's important to remember that back to school shopping is taking place in the broader context of the retail environment. So it means when consumers are shopping across multiple channels in multiple ways, people still like to touch and feel products. They like the immediacy of store offers. And even with 2-day shipping, people don't want to wait. People don't want to wait for 2 days. They want their school supplies in hand now.
Which is why you walk through the store and buy them, because you're like, ooh, I like this.
Yeah.
Blank sheet of paper. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's some of the back to school stuff. There's a lot of money being spent on back to school shopping.
Second largest shopping season. I want to say that again.
Yeah. It's a big deal.
Yeah.
The other thing that they do, I want to go back to this Walmart pick your dorm room thing. It reminds me of like maybe when I was 8 years old, my grandmother used to buy all of our gifts, birthday or Christmas gifts, from the Sears catalog. Like and we've talked about this, you'd get this big catalog 4 times a year, 5 times a year, maybe even ship, to your home, and you could flip through it. And I remember I'd got this outfit from my grandmother. Like I say, I must have been about 8 or 9 years old. And she said, and it wasn't like a one-piece outfit. Like it was multiple pieces for the outfit. Like there was earrings and a headband and a shirt and a sweater and pants and socks and shoes, like the whole outfit, top to bottom. And she said, I saw it on a girl in the catalog and I thought the whole outfit would look cute on you. So she just went down the page and said, okay, see everything on page 82? Yeah, I want that in a size 10 or whatever, and just kind of got the whole thing. And if that's what makes shopping easier for people, where you can see this big package, it's like, well, I need stuff for my dorm room. I like pink, I like black, I like blue. Okay, I'll get these accessories. It feels very IKEA-esque to me, but at the Walmart prices.
But it also has an opportunity for discounts. Like you can be making a higher margin on one thing than another. Like when you bundle stuff together.
Yeah,
bundles have been done for a long time.
Yeah. So I think that's kind of a cool way, and it makes it easier for people to buy. So yeah, that's back to school. I mean, we'll share the article. There's lots of stuff going on, and I think lots of retailers, and I think back to school isn't just about, we're talking shopping supplies, but it is the head to toe outfit for some people, right?
And the iPod and the shoes
and the laptop and the headphones.
That for me, that was the biggest purchase. Is twice going to university, different years, I needed a new computer. So it was like the Apple computer is what I went out and bought back when that was the option.
The thing to get. Yeah, and you're still using it today. Almost.
Nope. It got stolen on me, unfortunately, that one. Yeah. This is the replacement one.
Okay, so moving on to the online retail world, I want to talk a little bit about Shopify. This is kind of an interesting story coming out of the Ottawa Citizen, which is the city in which Shopify is based. So Shopify released on their blog not too long ago, a couple weeks ago, that they are going to or have modified their service agreement terms to prohibit the sales of many types of guns and ammunition. So as a result, people are upset.
This is an interesting one. I've got a lot to say about this one.
I knew you would.
And I'll go back. I don't have the article for it, but at one point there was a big uproar about Shopify allowing Breitbart Media to have a basically a store. Well, to have a store on Shopify. Like they had a blog, and Breitbart's like a alt-right news organization. So they had their news website, but then they had a store on Shopify. And so a lot of people said, hey, that shouldn't be allowed. That needs to be taken down. And Shopify stuck to their guns and basically said, no, wait, like people are allowed to sell things on our platform.
Free market.
Yeah.
Free market.
So that's the context for what has just happened now, which is they've said, okay, yeah, everyone should be allowed to sell stuff except for certain kinds of guns.
Right.
And certain kinds of ammunition. And if I understand correctly, it's not illegal guns and ammunition.
It's
not illegal.
Oh, that's
it's
correct.
not like
yeah.
so. And to give you a scope for Shopify, they're a Canadian company, but like one of the biggest markets for Shopify is the United States, where there's tons of websites you can
71% of its revenues, or $673 million US, comes from just US
sales. Yeah. So in states
for
where
Shopify,
there are websites that sell guns, these guns are legal. You're allowed to so this is it's not contraband, basically, is what I'm getting at. And I believe this is in response to the shootings that have happened.
Sure.
In their US
actually, that's pure speculation, probably, but they didn't even say why.
They've
just said, hey guys, this is what we're doing. And you're right. Like, I want to be totally clear. We are not debating whether or not, guns should be sold, period. And for Canadian retailers, it's much different because gun control, gun laws are much different. But Shopify basically said anyone who is selling legal to access guns, and many of them are wholesalers that are selling online using Shopify to dealers, like registered dealers. And all of a sudden now they can't use that. So they don't even really have a forward-facing customer store. Like, they can't sell to Joe Public. They're only, like, some of these retailers are only selling to dealers. So that's one piece that they've kind of kiboshed. They're looking at even 3D printing bits and parts and pieces that are like restricted or not restricted items that are related to handguns. And anyone who is selling and it's not just guns, that's any kind of weaponry stuff.
The one that I can think of is like that the bump thing that came up in the Florida shootings, where it was like it turned like a semi-automatic into a fully automatic.
Right.
And it was an accessory. It wasn't even a gun or a piece. Yeah.
Yeah. So they are kind of at one point, like you say, a year ago, they didn't want to wade in on, the free market and say, we're not going to say who can sell and not sell. But all of a sudden they woke up with a bit of a conscience and decided that they didn't want to support businesses through their platform that are legally selling guns and ammunition.
And I think here's the most important takeaway. They're allowed to do this, which means this could continue. And we've talked about this before, building on someone else's land. And it's real for Shopify too. It's real for Facebook and any other platform that you're building on. So basically, the business that you're dealing with, like let's say it's a hosting company or let's say it's Facebook, could decide that your gun store no longer meets the requirements for their platform, and they can say, we won't provide service. And if your entire business relied on your Shopify store, you're in trouble. And so this is something that we take into consideration. Like I always say with websites, you want a platform that can be, backed up and moved so that you're not stuck in one spot. So let's say the hosting company you're with decides that, kitten food is no longer allowed to be a topic for a website that's on their hosting. You could back up your site and move it somewhere else that allows for kitten food.
Yeah. And it's still a very expensive option for people to do that. And they did talk about, they interviewed one company, a general manager of a company called Spikes Tactical, which is based in Florida. And they sell tens of millions of dollars worth of weaponry and ammunition every year. And their quote, "We spent a lot of time and money over the past year building out our platform with Shopify technology. If they had have told us this from the beginning, that they had a no guns policy or were considering one, we would have respected that. I'm a free enterprise guy."
Exactly. Yeah.
But it's going to take months to build another website. And at this point, or at the time that this article was written, still super new. And I even checked in on it not long ago. Nobody really knows how quickly or how soon it's going to roll out. It's like effective immediately, effective January 1st.
Exactly. And that is an issue. And so I think from whether it's websites or apps, like we see Apple doing this kind of thing often in the App Store. You just need to be aware of these potential situations. Like obviously cat food wouldn't be one of the things, but like if you sell something that...
Particularly guns and ammunition. It's already a really heavily regulated space. So people who are working in that space probably already know what questions to ask to make sure that they're not going to hit those walls.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep. So
very interesting.
Just and then, what next, I guess, is the question with Shopify. Are they going to go back and, if you've got, hate speech or alt-right kind of T-shirts that you're putting out there, like when is that messaging going to get shut off?
And where does it stop?
Yeah.
And I think that's the most difficult question. Like I would imagine that Shopify will put out an explanation for guns. And I imagine it'll be something along the lines of they're a Canadian company, look at the Canadian gun laws, and they don't want to support that culture in the States, which is, we could debate that even. But where do they stop? Do they go down the line of anything that has hate speech and on T-shirts? Like, is it?
And who censors that?
And who censors? And is it a flag thing where you have to flag it and then Shopify has to look at it? And now we're talking how many millions of dollars for Shopify to go in and implement
and just
this.
Police it.
So it'll be very interesting to see, especially because Shopify, in my opinion, is one of the leading e-commerce platforms. It's very easy to get set up.
And in the spirit of full disclosure, we are a Shopify partner at Acorn 30. And I mean, I think the biggest takeaway on this one, like Brendan said, is make sure that you've got portable content, that you can take it wherever you need to take it. But secondly, if you're in a space where you are, could be considered controversial or you anticipate problems down the road, you may be better off to build in a completely different platform that you fully own. And maybe the only thing that's out of your control, so to speak, is your host. And if your host suddenly takes issue with what you're selling, you can easily switch your host to one that doesn't.
And there are other ways you can co-locate and self-host if you're at that level, like if you need that kind of, thing. So
yeah. Moving on to happier things. It's Christmas time.
Now you can sing your song. I forgot.
It's the most
there we go.
Wonderful time. Christmas. Amazon is getting ahead of the Christmas time. And I know last October, it feels like all we talked about on the podcast was Christmas, and it's only September and we're already starting to talk about Christmas. So
more is on the way.
Yeah. Yeah. Be prepared. And if you're in the retail world, be prepared.
But this is it. The second largest was the back to school, which is happening now. And then the first largest is like in a couple months.
Yeah. So this came out of Store Brands, which did a bit of a research piece on food brands or something like that. And basically, in August, Amazon basically did a holiday preview in a 2-story New York City pop-up space that showed off items of and eye-catching displays designed with Instagram. Visitors could walk through a mock kitchen, living room, and other sections featuring home items, electronics, and other products Amazon believes people will want for the holidays. So here we go, these little vignettes again. It's like...
It's a trend, is it?
Yeah. Yeah. It's just, I want that room. Give me the living room, And interestingly enough, Amazon, their private brands were promoted more than the national brands. So in particular, grocery and essential items for the kitchen or pantry were not name brands, but Amazon's house brands, including Wickedly Prime Snacks, Amazon Fresh Coffee Pods, Happy Belly Eggs, Presto Paper Towels, Solimo hand soap, and the new Wag Gourmet Dry Dog Food. The pop-up tour ended with guests sampling holiday dinners that could be featured on the catering menu of Amazon's Whole Foods Market. and guests took home small Whole Foods shopping bags filled with items including the grocer's 365 everyday value coconut macaroons and sparkling water, according to the report. And then they have a wish guide that's available. I'm hungry now.
I know. I was thinking the same thing.
And I don't want the sparkling water. I want the coconut macaroons.
Yeah.
So this is pretty neat in my mind that, there's two things here. Three. One is it's August and they're doing a pop-up store about Christmas.
So start thinking about it.
Right?
Yep.
And Amazon has always seemed to be the leader in this whole retail thing. They know retail trends better than we know, better than anybody knows retail trends because they have so much data that's coming through their system. So follow their cue. The pop-up shop is a really cool, just in general, doing the room by room experience to let people kind of have that tactile experience through the products, as opposed to, so now they're kind of taking their Whole Foods partnership and, bringing that to the forefront and allowing people to engage with the products, because we all know that food is kind of you don't want to order it and get the wrong thing and not like it. So it's letting people engage with the taste and smells of the products. And thirdly, that they're focusing on their own products first, as opposed to branded stuff, because that's where the margins are at.
Yeah, exactly.
And now they're actually, before, if you think about it, before they were just this little place where you could buy books and albums. And then they became a place where producers, suppliers could distribute their products online. And now they're going head to head with the suppliers on.
But I think they've got the brand loyalty and trust built up. Like, have you ever bought an Amazon Basics?
Yeah.
Office supply, something or other?
Yeah.
You know you're going to get something that at least works, that's cheap, that will do the job.
In 24 hours through my Prime membership.
Exactly. And so I think some of these, like private label, they're calling them, but these Amazon brands have the trust. People can rely on them or feel like they can rely on them. I think that's really interesting.
Yeah. So kind of a neat concept that they've done. What's our next piece? Are we on Gen Z? Gen Z?
Who's Gen Z?
Gen Z.
Like a rapper?
You are Gen Z.
Am I Gen Z?
I don't know. People who were born between 1997 and 2003.
97.
No, you're not
Nope.
Gen Z.
I'm not.
Whoever you are out there, you apathetic 20-somethings, you're 23% more likely to go to shopping malls compared to any other age group, according to a new study that's showing up on the drum.
Well, because they got to hang out outside of the house.
Because they're all living at home. They're all living at home because they can't afford to move out anymore.
Exactly.
Overeducated and underemployed generation. They are 38% more likely to shop at outlet malls because they can't afford full retail. And 139% more likely to shop at Urban Outfitters. And 124% more likely to shop at Forever 21. Just a...
Gen Z. So what's the oldest Gen Z? You said 2003? So they're what? They're
20...
60? They're 20?
20, no, 24, 25, 24, 23, 22, 22.
Mental math on the podcast. I like it. 22. That's hilarious.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm just trying to get a sense of like the oldest person in that demographic.
Yeah. The oldest person would have been born in 97, and it's 2018. So we can math this.
Okay, here's an awesome one too, actually. So McDonald's pivoted their idea. This is just coming from the article. Another one of these things that 20% of millennials had never tried the flagship menu item. Again, coming out of the same article.
Right.
20% of millennials had never had a Big Mac.
Right.
That's amazing.
Yeah, because they all eat chicken fingers.
Or something healthy.
They all eat chicken fingers. I don't know a 20-something who will go to a steakhouse and still want to order chicken fingers. It's just epidemic. People eating chicken fingers.
Well, so there's a lot of funny things in the article.
There are, yeah.
But I think it's data like this that we need to pay attention to because trends happen and they're different than what you might expect. Like I know often we sit down and we talk to business owners and we're like, okay, so who's your customer and what do they like to do? And the business owner will give you lots of answers. We know our businesses. We know who the customers that we deal with are. But what we might be missing is really important insights into the customers and who they actually are and what they're actually doing, which sometimes can only be found through the data that you're collecting, whether it's on your website or whether it's like, counting. Don't be against counting the people who come through your door or who make purchases to figure out. And you might be surprised. Like, yeah, your main demographic might be the 20 to 30-year-old who's looking for a pair of shoes, but you might be surprised to find that 16-year-olds are also buying your running shoes.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a demographic you never noticed because they come in with their mothers.
Yeah.
Right. And so it's diving deeper. So I think articles like this one and some of the trends that the study's finding are worth looking over to see if they match maybe what you're seeing in your business. Because when you really get a chance to use your data, and there is data, you might surprise yourself. That's my experience.
And I think we tend to make really vague assumptions about people.
Stereotypes.
Like chicken fingers.
Yeah.
And one of these things that this study has actually shown, like we tend to think like, oh, well, this Gen Z 20-something kid is glued to their cell phone all the time. And they were truly the first, this is what the article says, the first truly digital native generation. But they also have expressed growing aversions to the smartphones that they are frequently viewed as being attached to the hip. So we all think that you're always on your phone, but the reality is they're not on it as much as we think. They hold a paradoxical view of social media. So, for example, 41% say platforms make them feel anxious, sad, and depressed. 77% say platforms offer more benefits than drawbacks. So it's a bit of a paradox. They don't like it, but they want to be there. So it may help you in your business or marketers to try and create an experience in store that blends the technology, because they love it and they hate it, the technology. So we're seeing some of this, like H&M is doing like the touch screen in the store where you can choose your outfit, or you can walk over to the rack and choose your outfit. And some are going to be more drawn to it than others. But Gen Zers tend to enjoy in-store experiences, with 80% saying they look forward to shopping in stores when they have time. While 75% do most of their shopping online just because it's convenient.
Mm-hmm.
So they really want both. And isn't that,
Yep.
They want it all. They want it all.
Like, I would say ask questions, right? Like, of your customers.
Talk to your customers who are coming in. Find out why they're buying from you. Find out what they're buying. Like, pay attention to what they're buying from you. Find out where they hang out, where else they buy from.
Yeah. And if it's online, the surveys work. Like those one question surveys that you sometimes see at the end of a purchase.
Yeah.
Make it multiple choice.
And
it's
it doesn't
easy
even
to
have
click.
to be a survey. It doesn't have to be direct. Like if they're buying online from you, how are they getting to your website in the first place? Like you can look at your Google Analytics to find out how
referrals,
what the referral was, the path to them from that they took to get to you, which is a really good piece of information as well. So lots going on there. And retail trends. This one's kind of cool too. So this came out of Retail Dive. And there were 5 trends that they've identified for this point in time, currently, 2018. Trend number 1, omni-channel. I just think we have a trend for using words that I don't even understand anymore.
Well, I understand omni-channel only because the omni search is the way everything went with browsers. So instead of going to Google, you just search in the URL.
Yeah.
But
so one channel in retail, basically. So retailers no longer have web or mobile departments. They function as one unit to fuse the physical and digital consumer experience. And that's just what we were talking about, as it relates to H&M.
Yeah.
Like you're doing digital experiences in store.
Yeah.
So it's sink or swim as retailers reconfigure their organizations, creating new roles, expanding distribution channels, and rethinking inventory to work across online and offline. The next trend is Internet of Things, or IoT. And we've touched on this a little bit in the past about, the power of voice and using voice for shopping or not. That's just one little piece. But IoT is just adding an additional layer of data, which can get insights to support that omni-channel culture. So there's already 12 billion connected devices, which could soar to 30 billion by 2020. And if you don't inject somehow your store into IoT, then you can lose relevance pretty quickly.
And it might be tools that you can use to increase the efficiency of your store. It doesn't necessarily mean like having a voice app or something like that.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's like, and this goes on to say, like, it's often, IoT is often linked to devices like talking toasters and smart chopsticks that detect food contamination. But the true value of IoT is in the data which can be linked to other data to boost audience insights and connect online and offline behaviors. So Walmart uses weather data to forecast grocery sales. Like, that's...
I've even seen like you can have routers in your store that scan the devices that walk by, so you can have a count of how many unique devices have walked into your store in a day.
Right.
And that's like creepy IoT.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So looking at whatever digital that you're using and seeing how you can really get as much out of it as you can. The next one, we've talked about this a lot, is AR and VR, virtual and augmented reality, trying to put products in hands without putting products in hands, letting people, try out furniture in their homes without having to bring the furniture home, using AR to help me out here, Brendan. What are we using AR to?
Well, I think
get information. We talked about the menu outside of a restaurant.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and providing additional information in the right place at the right time, and that would be like the AR side.
Yeah. And then the AI side of things, the artificial intelligence, is the fourth trend. And it's like finding out things like what time of day are your customers most likely to buy? How often do your customers make a purchase with you? Does weather impact your sales? And that's all knowledge that you can get again from web, from your POS, from, linking in your weather reports.
And with AI, you can turn it around and use it to answer questions directly.
Yeah.
Back in the form of a bot.
The chatbot.
Or that kind of stuff. So I think that one of the trends we've done so far here, that one is going to be one of the ones that really blows up in the next little while.
And then finally, and I have to agree with this one, is hyper-personalization. So, not only am I buying a set of blue towels for my bathroom, but I'm going to get a kitten on it with my initials because I like kittens and I want my name.
Your
on it.
initials.
Something like that. I don't like either, actually. But so it's a hyper-personalization that's really, people want that custom experience.
And I would also go so far as to say there are ways to change the content that's on your website based on the person who's visiting your website. And maybe that's in the form of like A/B testing, or maybe you're doing some kind of marketing tracking where you can actually like show different customers who are in different stages of the buyer's journey different content in order to try to help them move them along. So that's more beneficial. That particular personalization is more beneficial in a like B2B situation. However, it can be done in B2C.
I think we've talked about even the most rudimentary form is like male or female, or geographic location, like country or
and
province.
Putting different links in advertisements. So you're advertising to males on Facebook who hit this demographic. Here's the link. So they land on a different landing page than the same advertisement, but geared towards women. They land on the women's side of your retail store. Yeah.
And that's it. That's for the trends. I think that's it for us. We're done talking about retail. The takeaway here is it's September and you need to start thinking about Christmas. So on that fine note, from the Marketing Podcast, I'm Heather Watson.
And I'm Brendan Quigley.
Thanks for listening.